Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well, I hope you guys are safe, and I hope you guys are healthy. Today's video is actually going to be going over the brief history of a shoe that actually binds vintage military wear with sportswear like Adidas and Puma, and all the way up to designer like Margiela and Dior. Today, we're talking about German Army trainers. Definitely a super classic shoe, and I'll tell you exactly why in this video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Josh, and I love to talk about clothing and personal style. And if that's your thing and you like the video, feel free to stick around and feel free to subscribe if you feel so inclined. But if you're coming back to the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really does mean the world to me. And without further ado, let's get right into it. How this video is going to be laid out is the first portion is going to be basically me giving you as much history as I can, everything that I know about German Army trainers. Second portion of the video is going to be me showing off the ones that I own and the pros and cons of basically each tier of German Army trainer. So I hope you like this one. I have my notes here as always to help me out, so if I look down, just know. So the original history of the shoe dates all the way back to the 1936 Olympics, where a very early rendition of the shoe was created as a track shoe, complete with spikes. So initially it was made for running. Who came up with the original idea for the shoe is somewhat debated, and a couple of tidbits of information that you could actually find super interesting is that the originator of the German Army trainer is either credited to the founder of Adidas or the founder of Puma. If you didn't know, those two were actually brothers. And just as a small little fun fact, not necessarily about German Army trainers, Adidas comes from the founder's name. The founder, whose name was Adolf Dassler, his nickname was Adi, Dassler, combine the two, Adidas. How does a running cleat essentially evolve into something that is a rubber-soled shoe? Well, in the 1970s, the German government wanted to commission a company to create shoes that was specifically for training their military. And so that is why we today call them German Army trainers, or GATs for short. They decided to add the original gum sole that we know today, that we are so familiar with today with a lot of German Army trainers, and it has become just an absolute classic. It started as a military sneaker. And back then in the 70s and 80s, they were known as, and this is in German, I'm not a German speaker, I'm very sorry if I mispronounce this, but it was called the Bundeswehr sport shoe. So its fascinating history and popularity at the time attracted the attention of many notable designers who would then do their own rendition of the shoe, namely Martin Margiela for Margiela, as well as Eddie Slimane for Dior at the time. Now, I can't really say who exactly made the original shoes because I don't have that information, but what I can say is that there are many different iterations of the shoes that are available today if you want that same look. Which leads me into the next section. First things first, the cheapest option for you to get a German Army trainer is going the vintage route. And there are plenty of them out on eBay, and you can get them for maybe $50 plus shipping or something around that. And this is my pair right here. I actually really enjoy this pair. They feel like the comfort is fine. I added an extra insole to add for comfort, but the look is quite good. You get suede over here on kind of this paneling, and then everything else is a leather. Now, as cheap as they are, they kind of come with the most limitations. There aren't very many colors. Usually it's just this color, which I actually really appreciate. This is the original colorway if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, going the vintage route is definitely the cheapest, but the quality and materials is definitely probably the lowest in my opinion. Has that gum sole, and then you see that outsole that has a really solid traction there. And if you can see right there, underneath, it'll say BW Sport, for what I'm only assuming is Bundeswehr, and then 270, which is the sizing. Oh, and another detail actually on here is that the tongue right over here has a couple of numbers. I have no idea what they mean. All I can tell is that the first three numbers are the size. But yeah, there's that. Again, quality isn't really all that great, but it's a great shoe for 50 bucks. So my next example of a German Army trainer that you can get today is from one of the originators of the actual shoe itself. You can go to Adidas and actually get a lot of shoes that are pretty well inspired by the German Army trainer. The one that is almost a direct recreation of the German Army trainer is the Adidas Army Bw, which I'm not sure if they're still widely available. Last time I checked, like a year ago they were, but the Adidas Army Bw was pretty much almost an exact recreation of the Bundeswehr sports shoe. Another shoe that draws a lot of inspiration from the German Army trainer, or GATS, are the Adidas Samba. Super popular. I know a lot of people like to skate in them, like to play soccer or whatever, I don't really know, but the Adidas Samba is very reminiscent of the German Army trainer. So if you guys want that version, you want a version from Adidas, they'll usually run you from like 70 to, I'll say, 120, depending on like if it's a collab or not or whatever. Like, still relatively affordable. Since I don't have them in hand, I can't really speak for the quality of them or the comfort because I've never actually owned a pair, but I will say that they have a lot of options for colors, which brings me to my very last kind of tier of German Army trainers, and that's going the designer route. Obviously, the absolute most expensive of the bunch, Dior, and what I mentioned before, Dior with Eddie Slimane only did it for only a couple of seasons. I'm not entirely sure how much they run. You could probably find a pair on Grailed, but if you want a pair that's more widely available with a ton of options for colors, materials, and just all around just options in general for the German Army trainer, I would very highly suggest going the Margiela route. Now this pair, I don't know if you guys have seen, in one of my earliest videos, I actually talk about how I thrifted these, which is absolutely true. I did thrift them. One of my greatest thrift finds of all time. But yeah, this is the Margiela version. Still has the gum sole, which they have options for gum sole and really like other colors as well. On the underneath, it has actually the same tread, which is really interesting. So this right here is the vintage pair. This right here is the Margiela pair. And you can kind of see that they took the same inspiration and pattern from what I believe to be the original pattern and tread for the original German Army trainer. But yeah, branding underneath there. We have branding on the tongue. And definitely the most striking detail about this shoe is going to be the paint splatter on the toe. Margiela is very well known for its paint splattering on its shoes and other garments, but it is truly the highest quality that you can get for German Army trainer, at least as far as I can tell. These aren't the only companies that create their own versions of German Army trainers. There are plenty more, so definitely do your own research and kind of try and find what version suits you best, because there are so many options. I love this pair, and I'm honestly really wanting to keep them, even though they're not my size. But yeah, the Margiela pair. You really can't go wrong. I'm sure a lot of people have seen them, and they come in a plethora of colors, materials, and different designs. They also come in like a high top version as well, which really isn't my cup of tea, but if that's your thing, that option is available to you as well. So simply based on history alone, the German Army trainer cannot be ignored as one of the great classics that are widely available today, and very recognizable as well. I highly suggest picking up a pair and incorporating them into your wardrobe. They're an amazing slim sneaker silhouette that I think will never go out of style. But what do you guys think? Do you own any German Army trainer renditions? Do you dislike them for some reason? I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I appreciate your time. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you do, and until the next video, I will catch you guys later.